Hello everyone, this is Mr.MonsterConnoisseur, back again with Special Education Part 8. Let us begin. I woke to a brief period of peace. It was as if the few positive emotions that were easily outweighed by, everything else were the first to get back to me after my rest. Rest assured, though, it didn't take me long before the memories of what had transpired over the past 24 hours washed over me. Wasn't even the past 24 hours? Wasn't even longer. How long had I been out? I sat up and began moving my legs, quickly realizing how sore they were. Guess hours upon hours of walking will do that. I unconsciously recognized that I was in my bedroom. And it didn't take long for me to recognize a phone, still somewhat charged. I glanced at it and had a look at the time. 11:03 p.m. 9:23:53. 11:03 p.m. When I got back, it was mid-afternoon, probably around 3-ish. Damn, it's full 8 hours. Guess my sleep schedule is fucked. I was standing now, staring at my darkened reflection from the phone screen. That peace that I once knew just moments ago was long gone, replaced by burning feelings of regret and despair. I turned to face his door from my bedroom to the hallway. I knew that the moment I opened that door, I would have to deal with it finally. Deal with the shit I've locked away for far too long. The door was a little too dark to see. That didn't matter to me. I knew where it was. I've always known. And I certainly didn't want to open it. Even after everything I've been put through today. I still feel as though I'm just not ready yet. If I just gave myself a few more days, weeks, months, years, I would be able to face it properly. Because that's what I've always told myself. I didn't even need to after a few times. I just understood it. Managed to bury it beneath so many layers of recursion that I'd almost forgotten it entirely. But I knew that wouldn't ever happen. Not unless a mind flare was involved. Took a deep breath, trying to focus, instead of letting my consciousness drift in sea of unknown possibilities, and opened the door, slowly and silently. I heard a voice. It was my mother's voice. Yeah, I always knew there was something off about him, even before I just wish he told me something. Anything that could have led me to figuring it out, but he shut me out so damn quickly. It's no wonder with what she did to him. My mother stammered, still sniffling from what I assume was a good cry session. Then I heard Relay speak. It sent a couple of shivers down my spine, and I found myself questioning what she did to me once more. If it makes you feel any better, that woman is gone. Killed herself in 2042, probably out of guilt. I alerted the high authorities about her as soon as I was able after you disinfected and treated my wound. Word got back to me about 7 minutes ago, I heard her say. You shouldn't blame yourself for this. There's not much you could have done with what little you knew, Riley concluded. I'm just worried. He's a loose cannon, emotionally speaking. He might try to hurt you. And I don't know what I would do if my boy ever hurt someone on purpose. My mother sniffled. And I don't know if I can bear with not seeing him again for such a long time. I know we'll be in good hands, but I just don't know. I've only just met you, and I just don't want the same thing to happen to him again. Ma'am, Riley managed to blurt out before my mother interrupted. I know, but I'm just paranoid. I don't want to lose him too, my mother finished. I promise you that he's in good hands. I love him, and will stop at nothing to make sure he's happy, Riley stated. Gods, I hope so, my mother responded. Anyways, I should probably talk to him. He's been awake and listening to us for the past 5 minutes now. He's probably going to be very upset, as he fears he's losing control of his life. A fear which, ironically, has done nothing but control him for the last 5 years. Rather posited. Somewhere deep down in my brain, I knew she was right. But that didn't change how much I hated what she said. She walked over towards the hall I was in, and I debated going back into my room and pretending to sleep. It wouldn't get me anything aside from a few moments of reprieve, but those moments felt really damn precious right about now. But the moment her eyes met mine, I knew it was too late. Well, look who's up, she told me. I was never fond of that phrase. I gotta say, the fact that you managed to drive me back here after running for nearly an hour is quite impressive. It's kind of stamina that every lover pines for. She chuckled briefly after the statement before resuming. I know you got a lot in your mind right now, and I know most of it is centered around how much you'd rather not be doing this. How much you'd rather not be in this situation. But I promise this will all make sense after a while. And I promise that you'll be happy again. I didn't respond. Giving me the silent treatment, huh? She questioned. I shrugged, asking, and why should I respond? What sequence of words could I construct that would possibly change the outcome of this? I'm going to end up with someone tonight, no matter what, despite my best wishes. While admittedly I prefer to be with you over pretty much everyone else, I imagine it's still second only to the choice I've always dreamed of having. So why am I still here then? Why haven't you just spirited me away yet? For God's sake, Charlie, I just want the love of my life to be happy again, she nearly shouted. Is that so much to ask? Evidently it is for me. And how the fuck are you supposed to be the so-called love of my life? I only met you 24 hours ago, I fired back. I know you for far longer than that, she replied, quieter this time. You think it's a coincidence I found you back at that house? Williams can read the emotions of dozens of people within a second, and tens of thousands within an hour when we're scouting. It wasn't long before I began watching you almost a year ago, after observing the nearby area, looking for signs of marital dissatisfaction. I knew I couldn't come after you were almost 18 due to the law and the fact that I simply wasn't able to understand your motives at all at first, which is why it took me so long to get you in the first place. The moment I saw you run, I knew I had to take my chance before another of my kind found out about you. Well, in that case, I have an idea for what will make me happy. You go out there, get everyone to fuck off, and then forget about me, I stated. And do you really think that I'll satisfy what's been bothering you? She asked. We were interrupted by a large banging on the door. Rather, I looked at my mother. She shrugged and nodded. Oh fuck, it's the police. No. Before the woman started making her way towards the door, she quietly swung it open. I told you not to come back here, was the first thing out of her mouth. As she did so, I managed to get a glance of who was at the door and recognized a familiar uniform and badge being worn by 2 MPD officers. And that's when I remembered what was about to happen in an hour. Oh god, oh fuck. You told us you were going to come here, was the response she got. People can smell him from a mile away, and it's causing an uproar. Please, I swear to God. Especially those of us who caught a glimpse of you two walking back to this house. Sooner or later, someone thinks you're depriving him. We're going to attempt to rescue. She glanced at me, and her eyes went wide. I knew that look. It was the same look that Manticore gave me a few months back. Right before she tried to do that. Right before she tried to do that to me. She took a deep breath and ended with and I might have to be that person. The officer rushed aside, making a beeline straight for me and punch. Oh, fuck. The officer rushed inside, making a beeline straight toward me and punching Riley in the gut as she did so, causing her to cry out in pain. She managed to make it a few steps towards me before my mother rushed in and caught her, wrapping a few more of her limbs around her throat. Don't you dare lay a thick finger on him, you bitch. She growled at the officer, who could only respond with choking noises. The second officer protested, shouting at my mom, who clearly wasn't paying any mind to her. She eased Riley out of the way with another tentacle before throwing the officer out of the door and locking it closed after her. My mother quickly turned towards me and stated, "I don't know what's going through your mind right now, but I can tell you don't want to end up with one of them. And I don't think they're going to leave us alone until you and Riley manage to get out of here. Unless you want to throw yourself to the masses, this is your only option." "Yeah, well, now there's a bit of an issue with that," Willem's voice exaggerated. "Fucker managed to get me good right there. The damn wound was. I can still teleport us out of here, but it's going to take a while for me to work up the strength. God damn it, I should have done it when I had the chance." Riley looked at me, her tone shifting slightly from pain to hopeful. "I just wanted to allow you to speak to your family again. I hope you're still good at staying single for a while longer, because after midnight, you're going to need to be." I checked my phone again. 11:17 p.m. 53 minutes until I turn 18. 53 minutes before it becomes illegal for whoever wants to break into my house. Come and take me forcefully. Oh God. I noticed my mother began to lock all the windows and shut the blinds, and I knew the only chance we might stand against dozens of those dipshits will be if we barricaded the house. She walked upstairs to my sister's rooms and roused the few that were sleeping by making sure all the windows were locked and blinded. I did the same for my room. Riley limped over towards me and put a hand on my shoulder. I recoiled slightly from her touch still, but not nearly as much as earlier today. "Don't worry, I won't let them get you," she said with a smile. I was hesitant to respond, but I did anyway. With that limp, I'm not sure about it. About that. This caused Riley to giggle slightly. "How long will that be?" I continued. "Shouldn't take longer than an hour from now," Riley responded. "Though that unfortunately places about 20 minutes past midnight." "And where exactly are you taking me?" was my final question. "Somewhere you can heal," was her response. "Because you really hate giving straight answers after all." I stared outside, peeking through the blinds of one of the ground windows, with Riley watching behind me. She was crouched down in the corner of the room, trying to will as much strength and energy as he could as I watched the masses of monsters that had piled up on our driveway, eagerly awaiting the approach of midnight. My siblings were all stationed in different rooms, each equipped to handle any trespassers, hopefully. One of the few things about monster law is that you can beat the shit out of anybody without getting handed an assault charge if it was because they had broken into your house. I looked back at my phone. 11:59:13 p.m. I was in a group call with all my siblings in order to keep me notified about, well, everything that was about to happen, barricading all the doors and stationing the youngest of those who were old enough to fight back in the front of those areas. My oldest siblings were put in the most vulnerable areas of the house. Me and Riley were both in the basement, the door to which was being guarded by my mother. The only other people with us were my 3 youngest siblings, who were younger than 13. Riley was doing her best at entertaining them, trying to distract them from the madness that was about to ensue. The group call was eerily quiet with anticipation. Once again, I looked back at Riley. "How much longer do you need?" I asked. "About 50 minutes, 10 if we're lucky," she responded. I was hoping they'd just leave once her scent disappears. 10 seconds, I heard my older sister, Deborah, say through the phone, and I heard a small crowd begin to chant as they counted down the seconds. I crouched down, sat next to Riley, starting at the time as we approached midnight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, congratulations, Charlie. You're one of the few unmarried adults to exist, Riley muttered just as before the sound of glass shattering echoed throughout the house. Well, that's the end of Special Education Part 8. So, yeah. The next part will be uploaded tomorrow. Goodbye.